What's up everyone, and welcome back to Nexus. There's a pretty high chance that most of you watching live in a house. And if you don't live in a house now, you've probably been in a house at some point before. But how would you feel knowing that there was an entire secret section of your house, sometimes with some undesirable things living inside? Probably pretty scared and freaked out. Too freaked out to care that there might be some hidden treasures there too? Watch this video to find out the 10 strangest secret rooms found in houses. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get new content similar to this every day. Also, make sure to comment down below letting us know which was your favorite. And for this video, let's see if we can hit the golden like button, which is 1,000 likes, so make sure to drop a like down below. Number 10. When you're a college student, rent can be expensive, and lots of people aren't lucky enough to have their parents pay their way and might have to work to go to school. With that in mind, it's not surprising that one guy took the easy way out of living on a rent-free life by sneaking around in the basement of someone else's house. And yep, this did happen to a group of male students attending Ohio State University. Spooky enough, they originally thought their house might have a ghost when they found all their things being moved around. But when a maintenance team knocked down a locked door in their cellar they initially thought led to a utility closet, made things even weirder. It turned out that another OSU student named Jerry had been living down there in secret for months, and no one ever knew.
We had been telling everybody the story about the ghost in our house.
They started getting even more suspicious, so Mark and his 8 housemates searched the house. When their realtor finally opened the door, what they found shocked everyone. A bedroom that someone else had been living in.
I mean, he was a really nice guy. Like, I feel bad for him, but it's funny now, but it really could have been potentially extremely dangerous. Like, some random guy had a key to our house and was just living in our house without anyone knowing.
Number 9. This story starts off kind of sad, since for Reddit user Evil English to have access to his grandparents' old Tennessee farmhouse, it meant that his grandparents and his dad had to die first. But maybe the secret treasure he found hidden will go away to relieving his grief. In the Reddit thread where this discovery first came to light, he discusses his grandfather's love of Treasure Island, and their love of collecting old and valuable knickknacks and firearms. So it's not surprising that when he dug around underneath the dirty carpet of a random old closet, he found a safe. Or maybe it is surprising, since who would think to look there? What they found was old coins, but not just a few old coins, literally thousands of antique and valuable coins, including a bunch of perfectly preserved silver dollars, actual silver bars, and a hoard of jewelry. Number 8. Another story detailing the lives of some students, but this time out in Norway. And it's a little less creepy because at least these guys were actually told by their landlord that there was a secret room somewhere in the house. And what would you do if you'd had a lot of free time and knew there was a secret room somewhere? Well, obviously you'd blow everything off and go hunt for it. And that's exactly what they did. To find the room, they had to climb up into the attic and pull a wood covering off of part of the wall. And then what they found was kind of creepy. A room they claimed to be from World War II with only a long table, a weird sign, an alarm, and an old map of Western Europe inside. Maybe it was a secret base for a spy during the war. It's anyone's guess, really. Number 7. Depending on what country you live in, you may not have heard these things called priest holes before, but tons of very old buildings in England have them built in, with one of the most famous being Harvington Hall in Worcestershire, a building rich with history. Basically, a priest hole is a lot like a panic room, and they were built so that Catholic priests would have places to hide in the 16th century, when Queen Elizabeth I was persecuting and executing Catholics across the whole country. Harvington Hall is full of these priest holes where dozens or maybe even hundreds of priests might have hidden and avoided being decapitated. It's also got some cool old night shields in there and some kind of spooky mannequins you'll want to avoid. Number 6. Sticking with the same theme as our last item, this next one is from a video of a YouTuber documenting his new house, which is apparently a very old converted monastery with a lot of weird spaces and a creepy atmosphere. I guess it's his own fault for moving somewhere spooky, because he says he did it just because the rent was cheap, and he hadn't even viewed the place before he moved in. He finds a weird trapdoor in the floor in front of the bathroom and decides to go down and explore, and discovers a secret dungeon. It's got all kinds of weird graffiti and bricked up walls down there, and he even thinks that there might be people buried under the floor. Still, if you had the time and money, converting it into proper rooms might let the landlord get more from the rent.
So here's the apartment I moved into last week. And then we look down here. What's this? Walking in the steps into the dungeon. Loads of stones and old brickwork. So let's have a look in here first. Some interesting graffiti on the wall. Looks like this window has been bricked up. Obviously a burial ground. brick seat or bed or sacrificial altar.
Number 5. This is another tale about secrets being found when houses are inherited. This time a secret room in an attic found by a man and his wife who had inherited the house some years earlier from her family. It's made creepier by the fact that the house had been in the family for decades, and this room was only discovered when they were making renovations to the property. In the room, they found 2 huge steamer trunks with the name Daniel Kozak on them, a name neither of them nor her family had ever heard of before. In the trunks, they found hundreds of old family photo albums belonging to a family they didn't recognize. Some of them even dated as far back as 1925. The story was published in hope of getting in touch with the relatives it belonged to. And as luck would have it, they actually found Kathy, who recognized pictures of her father among the bunch and has now been reunited with all those precious heirlooms. Number 4. Are tech company headquarters the most remarkable things you'll find in Silicon Valley today? Well, they definitely aren't. Not when there's Winchester Mystery House sitting right there. If you haven't heard of it, the Winchester Mystery House was constructed for 38 years by Sarah Winchester, whose father-in-law created the famous Winchester rifle. Because of this, Sarah believed that the ghosts of all those people who had been killed by those rifles were plaguing her, and so she built this incredibly weird house, full of trapdoors, dead-end corridors, 47 staircases, and upside-down hallways. All this weirdness designed to confuse the evil spirits seeking their revenge. But just recently, another secret room was discovered in the house, which is believed to be where Sarah hid during the Great San Francisco earthquake of 1906.
A team tasked with preserving the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California, recently found a room that no one had known about until now. It's an attic space that was apparently boarded up after the home's owner, Sarah Winchester, died in 1922. Inside the room, dubbed Sarah's attic, workers found things like an old pump organ, a Victorian couch, a sewing machine, and paintings. Including this recently discovered attic space, the home has 161 rooms, 10,000 windows, 2,000 doors, 47 fireplaces, and 9 kitchens.
Number 3. While Sarah Winchester was trying to confuse the ghosts who tormented her, H.H. Holmes was trying to torment confused people and turn them into ghosts. You may know him better under the nickname America's First Serial Killer, and might have already heard of his infamous Murder Castle before, which was a big house built in Chicago where he tricked tourists during the World's Fair into staying, before eventually killing them, selling their body parts on the black market, and then incinerating or disintegrating their remains in one of his many crematoriums or acid baths that he had specially installed. The murder castle was full of hidden doorways, doors that locked behind you with no way out, and rooms you could only get in through the roofs. In 1895, the murder castle was mysteriously destroyed in a fire, so there's no videos or photos of its interior, and maybe that's for the best, given its gruesome history.
Mr. Herman Mudgett, better known under the murderous alias Dr. Henry H. Holmes. In his early teens, he began to be fascinated with death, a fascination that would really never go away. This quote-unquote murder castle was a 5-story hotel, designed entirely by Dr. Holmes, whose express purpose was to lure in, trap, dismember, and ultimately murder unwitting guests.
Number 2. When Argentina's federal police teamed up with Interpol to investigate suspicious artwork in a local gallery, the last thing they expected to find was probably a huge collection of Nazi memorabilia in a nearby mansion. And yet, that is what they found in a secret room hidden behind a bookshelf in a house belonging to an old and rich collector. They found a ridiculous amount of stuff, including a magnifying glass that was authenticated as being used by Hitler himself. There are suspicions that this collection came originally from Joseph Mengele, a Nazi doctor known as Angel of Death, who carried out inhumane genetic experiments of the prisoners in Auschwitz during the war and eventually fled to Argentina. Number 1. For anyone who ever played Assassin's Creed Revelations, a big underground city hidden in Turkey may not come as a surprise. But did you know that there actually is a big underground city hidden in Turkey? It's apparently 5,000 years old and big enough to fit at least 20,000 inhabitants, and is 18 stories high. It was found during routine demolitions 5 years ago underneath Nevşehir, and was supposedly built as a refuge for people wanting to escape holy wars in the area during the Byzantine era. This isn't even the only ancient city found in Turkey. Back in 1963, a man knocking down a wall in his basement found what is now a tourist attraction called Derinkuyu.
An underground city in Turkey's touristic Cappadocia will rewrite the history of the city, according to the mayor in the central Anatolian Nevşehir province, adding they had discovered people had permanently lived in the underground city, unlike other cities which were mostly carved into rocks for temporary protection.
That was our list of the 10 strangest secret rooms found in homes. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss a video in the future. And hit the like button too so we hit the golden like of 1,000. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace!